Welcome to Absolute Comics, the show right here on the Comic Historian Podcast Network that airs every Tuesday with me, Benny from the Comic Historian, and Sal from the channel Comic Pop. We sit around talking about the latest news in comics, the latest issues that we've read, and what's going on in the world of comics. And hopefully with Fandom coming out, it's going to be more consistent. It's very hard to do the show when no one talks about anything involved in the world of comics.
That's true.
So we've got a list of topics over here. Over here. If I could pull it up, geez, there it is. Do you want to start with? Okay, so I'm going to give you the option to start.
I think we should start with the smaller topics before we get into the WB situation because it's so big. I know people are going to be just blowing it up the chat, and let's whet their appetite a little bit for what's to come.
Okay, cool. Then, Injustice started last week.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but how is it?
I don't know what it has to do with Injustice.
Well, it's year zero, so it takes place before Injustice or the same year as the first.
So it basically is about the Joker and how he gets ultimate powers. So it's probably going to be like how the Joker got that nuke, which is like the only question that everyone had.
Unanswered.
It was unanswered, but like everyone cared, but they didn't care at the same time because it's like,
yeah,
Joker got a nuke. Does anyone honestly care about this? You know?
Well, is anyone surprised? Like, yeah, he probably has like 7. But that's interesting. I mean, like, listen, if you're, I mean, the reality is, Injustice sells. It's one of the most successful books DC made. It's one of the most successful video games DC's produced, and it's like, if you want brand consistency and you want a book that's going to sell numbers that you know are proven, put out another Injustice book. And if you want it to be great, you put Tom Taylor on it.
The only issue I have with this Injustice book is it's a prequel. So we can't have any weird deaths or if any obscure characters suddenly get introduced, you know they're the ones that are going to die.
Well, the JSA are showing up in this book, right? I mean, it should be about them.
And they're not in the game, so guess what? Guess who's probably going to die?
Maybe, unless we want to... I mean, the fact is, the comic is strayed so far from the game as it is. You know, maybe they went to another dimension, maybe they went back in time. Like, we could dispatch the JSA, and then, I mean, you could totally decease this and be like, we're introducing the JSA in this issue or this series. At the end of it, they'll go away, and then he's going to launch, like, you know, I don't know, Injustice Year 100, set it in the Batman Beyond universe, and have the JSA pour out of that one. You know what I mean? Like, you could have all kinds of...
I mean, technically, we did already have time travel because they saved Connor from dying. I think it was Connor and Cassie got saved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're right. We couldn't, in theory, have the JSA and it's all coming together in whatever other thing he's trying to do. I just kind of... let me ask, would you have preferred what we're getting, which is it's Tom Taylor, so I trust that it is going to wrap in, even if it's loosely. Would you have preferred this, or would you have preferred them to do maybe a Injustice What If, or an Injustice continuation of characters that haven't shown up anywhere?
Like, I mean, we're essentially getting that with the JSA now. I'm hoping that's kind of what we're going to get. I really liked the What If, because, of course, they did that whole, like, chapter when... They were like, well, what if Batman didn't fail to stop Superman? Like, what if Superman didn't kill Lois? Like, that would be cool. Yeah, I would love that. And I would love to see more of that, because it's just, where else can you go? I mean, we got Injustice fights He-Man, for God's sake. Where else can you go?
And that's just it. We've got Injustice fights He-Man. We've also got the time travel Legion of Superheroes, Connor and Wonder Girl and all that stuff. Like, we could just continue stories that won't ever pertain to the game.
Right. That's fine with me. I'd be okay with that. But I think that it's smart to do this one, though, to do year zero.
To explain how he got the nuke?
Well, not only that, but also, like, to tie it in directly with, like, the best-selling book/game. Like, it is unmistakably in the Injustice universe. It's not like it's a secret backdoor Legion of Superheroes book or a secret Tom Taylor really wants to write Batman Beyond universe story. Like, it is straight up an Injustice book. There's no mistaking it. It's called Injustice. It's part of that universe. It's got... But... everyone's still alive. In fact, we could actually see the Justice League like work together and try and beat the Joker. That'd be cool.
To see how they were such good friends beforehand, maybe why Barry would trust Superman, even though it felt a little out of character for Barry.
Absolutely.
And stuff like I mean, you're right. It could go in an interesting direction. It's one of those things where it's like, it's coming out and I'm going to read it and I'm going to cover it because everyone knows I'm a huge fan of the Injustice universe. But it's one of those things where I go, who asked for this? Like,
Right.
who was sitting around like, I really want to know what happened before Injustice went to shit?
I mean, literally nobody asked for what happened to Deathstroke in DC's. Like Tom Taylor's the master of answering questions nobody asked, and then being like, "I'm glad you answered that though, because it's really dope." Like,
Okay,
so
I'll
I'm
give you
fine
that.
with
I'll
it.
give you that because when he did, I was asking about Red Hood, but when he brought in Deathstroke, I'm like, I mean, I guess that could be cool. I mean,
But he did that too. Where it's like when you're reading DC's, you're like, I mean, I guess Jason just didn't make it, whatever. But then you do Unkillables, and it's like, oh crap, it's a whole book about Jason.
yeah, it's Jason and Deathstroke. Yeah, I'm on board with this shit.
Right, and it's like he's good at that. Like he's good at being like, here's a book you didn't expect that is exactly what you asked for. Boom. So I'm if it were anybody else, if it was like a new writer, or if it was like an old tired writer, you know, if it was just like whoever, if it was somebody who like stood in for somebody usually,
Right,
I'd be
right.
like, nah, it's another cash grab. It's Taylor, so at least it'll be narratively satisfying. I'm down.
I
mean,
wonder
like,
if Tom Taylor came to them or if they came to him and were like, we want more Injustice. What do you got?
I bet that's exactly what it was. They were like, we need another Injustice book with or without you. Hope you got a pitch.
Well, he did Injustice 2, didn't he? He was in Injustice 2. Yeah. So
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, there, you know, he's done so much, and I feel like the last word has been said on Injustice, but you know, I'm obviously in the minority.
I know I'm a fan of Injustice. I legitimately am, and I agree. I feel like we've said all we could really say about an evil Superman.
Yeah, so I can imagine DC being like, look, Tom, I know you're kind of pretty much done with it, but we're gonna do another Injustice book, and we could either. It could be even more terrible. It could be like, we're going to reboot the Injustice world. Like, we're going to do another Injustice book. That's just
Why would
another
they?
one.
Why wouldn't they? What if they did another Injustice, but this time Batman goes over the edge?
Just switch them.
Yeah.
That's that's like their in case of emergency break glass moment. You know that's what it is. It's just like, we're going to invert them. That's it.
I don't know. It's interesting. It really is that they're even. I mean, I'm not against them doing more Injustice. It's good for my channel and it's good for me because I like this stuff. But
Right. It's good for all of us.
yeah, it's one of those deals where it's kind of like, did I want this? Did I
Yeah.
really want this? You know what I mean?
No. Well, like, he's got that other deceased book that's digital only that came after Unkillables. I can't remember what it's called because they all have meaningless subtitles. But, like, by the way, and I'm enjoying all of them. But this is the weekly series, or the weekly digital series about, like, what's happening in between Deceased 1 and Deceased 2. And it's like, I'm digging it, but I'm also like, you don't need this. Like, we don't need to do this. But it is deepening the lore, and it's fun, so I'm fine with it.
I will
But
say,
it's
after
very much-
reading,
I didn't
did you read
ask.
today's Deceased yet?
Yeah, there's another. I read the most recent one. The Deceased 2, like the main sequel.
Okay, so you
I
have
think it came out
have you
last
been
week.
reading Hope at World's End?
Yeah.
Okay. So the new one came out today.
Oh no, I didn't read it.
Yeah, okay. Without spoiling anything, it made me realize what these stories are. Because if you read the original Deceased, right? If you're reading the
Yeah.
original, there's a lot of time jumping. This is how
Yes.
we get from, like, we could save the world to, let's all get off the planet.
Right. We have to leave.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
It is. I hope World's End's really good. We already finished a video. It's going to come out tomorrow.
Nice.
I think I'm done trying to rush things out first thing in the morning on Tuesday. I went shooting today. I was like, screw that. But
Yeah.
anyway, okay, so we'll move on to our next topic because I don't think there's much more to say about Injustice at the moment. At least until we see what they're doing at the plot. Right now, it's a lot of speculation because it's JSA and they're doing all this shit. And like, this could be cool. This could
It's one
also
issue.
be terrible. Like.
Yeah, I bet it isn't though.
Right,
It's
well,
Taylor.
it's Tom
gonna-
Taylor. He made me care about the Suicide Squad. Did you read the latest one?
No, but I hear it's so good. I need to jump on board.
Okay, I'm going to spoil it for you unless you
Please
stop
do,
me.
yeah.
Okay, so
No, I don't.
Deadshot's finally free, goes back home, meets his daughter. She looks just like Kate Bishop because she's decided she's live shot and she's going to use bow and arrows to kill people. Well, to
Okay.
not kill them. But then it turns out that, oh no, Deadshot was betrayed by the Suicide Squad. So they're coming in to get him again, and she decides to try and fight against them, and he has to kill or like dismember or injure other people to save his daughter, who now just wants to be her dad.
Right.
But you think,
Okay.
but like Tom Taylor introduces this girl, okay, live
Yeah.
live shot. introduces her, makes us care about her, and then almost immediately kills her. And I'm like,
Right.
no!
That's him, man. That's
Yeah.
good writing. That's good stuff.
And you
I'm
care.
down.
You care within minutes. Like,
Yeah, right. Like that's no small feat to get you, because that's like the dragon that they're chasing. Is like, I want to introduce a new character. I want you to care about them immediately. Usually they do it at the expense of the hero, or they hype it up too much. In this, he's just like, here's Suicide Squad. Oh, did I inadvertently create a really fun character that was the offspring of Deadshot? Yeah, I guess I did. Do you like her, I guess? I know you do. Like, he's so good at that. I don't know why, but he's
know what? It also made me think of one thing, though. Why has it been like 20 years where Deadshot's like, I'm doing this for my kid, I'm doing this for my kid. And we've never turned his kid into a character.
Right, like, you know what? Let's have him just stop. Like, you know what? We're good. Like, it's not like they had to pave the way for all those Deadshot books. You know what I mean? Like, how about we just pay that off? If not now, when?
Like, he's always trying to save her, and the mom's always like, well, what if she becomes you? What if she becomes you? And I'm like, she did, and she's awesome.
Right. What if, though? I'm in. That's dope. I'm in.
So that's what you missed with that one. Moving on.
Good, yeah.
Moving on to the next topic over here. We got Joshua Williamson explains that Godspeed was always destined to die ever since issue 7 when he says that he will go kill Reverse Flash and Barry stopped him.
Yeah.
I think the way he died and the way he's come back a couple of times, I don't know if I believe that, Sal.
Right. No, of course not. I mean, like, well, that's the thing. Williamson's leaving the book, and he's like pretty much saying the final word at Finish Line. Finish Line is that's it. And we've talked to him actually personally about it, where he's like, they asked him, they said, like, what's next after Finish Line? And he's like, it's called Finish Line.
Like, I'm done.
There is nothing left.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm out.
That's it.
And he's walking away. Like, he's running away from the Flash. And so I think in his mind, he's like, no, he is meant to die. Like,
I think
they're not going to kill him.
I think, no,
but I think
Godspeed's dead.
Well, I'm saying, but like, they'll bring him back. Like, someone else will do it. It's just a question of like, but in Williamson's mind, it's the same as like when Grant Morrison created Damian. He's like, if you ask or read any interview with Grant Morrison, he talks about how he's like, I killed Damian. He was supposed to die. When I invented him, he was going to die at the end of this story. And people immediately resurrected him like a couple issues later. So like, I feel like with this, it's like in Williamson's mind, he's like, yes, he was always meant to die. I completely buy that.
Well,
I just also know
I buy that Williamson was like, when I'm done with the book, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah,
but I do feel like he's showed up a lot between things. Like,
yes, well, and that's DC. They're just being like, well, they put him in the show, and people are really digging him. Like, you got to keep using him.
Well, it was like his appearance in the Grodd arc. It was like you didn't need Godspeed there. Like, you put him in there because he's popular.
That's it.
I almost feel like Godspeed is supposed to be at the beginning, maybe show up somewhere in the middle, and then this arc, and that was Joshua Williamson's intention,
Yeah, well, it would have had more weight. You would have been like, whoa, we just got him back.
Yeah, he came back, he's redeeming himself, Barry prevented him from killing the Reverse Flash. Oh no, Reverse Flash killed him!
Yeah, that would have been really cool, and no. So, yeah, I think in Williamson's mind, he's like, no, he's always meant to die. I buy it. I think it's just,
DC kind of ruined it to an extent.
Well, I think DC pushed it too hard, and I don't blame them because
Godspeed's super popular, and I'm not even gonna lie, I like Godspeed, but I do not understand his popularity because he's really just Reverse Flash. That's literally it.
Yeah, you don't need another Reverse Flash. Like, for me, I was like, when they introduced Godspeed, I'm like, another evil speedster who, come on.
Like,
I mean, he does look dope, though.
The design's cool, and I liked that, but he was just Reverse Flash with more connections to Barry. So I never understood the constant, like, Godspeed's amazing, we gotta get more Godspeed. Like, even his power set is Reverse Flash, just not as strong.
Right.
Like, Godspeed can go so fast he makes 2 of himself. Pretty sure Reverse Flash could. It's probably one of those things where Reverse Flash just looked at like Godspeed's notes and he's like, "Oh, that's how you do that."
Right. Yeah. I would not underestimate the power of a good design. If Godspeed looks cool and he even looks like the comic book version in real life, it's gonna sell. It's just.
It's weird because it feels like Godspeed was supposed to be Barry Allen's version of Zoom. But the problem is Barry Allen had Reverse Flash. He had Eobard.
Yes.
So it was a redundant thing because then you still also have Wally and you also have Zoom somewhere out there. I mean,
no, you
Barry has now defeated Zoom.
You need if you want to do that, make an evil speedster for all of them.
Yeah.
Like, Godspeed should have been Wally's Eobard.
I don't know. It was weird. Or no, Godspeed could have been Wallace's.
Wallace, yeah, even better because Wallace, like he kind of got kicked to the side.
Oh, he totally
but
did.
Godspeed, but Godspeed sells, so it's like, hey, we could elevate Wallace by making him Godspeed's nemesis. That would have been pretty cool.
I mean, that's what they need to do, honestly, in my opinion, with Miles. Miles doesn't have a villain that is Miles.
he has no Doc Ock, he has no Green Goblin,
And they've
It's
never
just a
tried. He
bunch
always
of
fights
stuff.
Peter's villains. Like, this is a different topic, but I was talking about this the other day. I like Miles Morales, but going through his comics, getting ready for his video game has me doing a lot more of his stuff, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
so redundant. He doesn't do anything.
I've been very hesitant to talk about his redundancy because I've been on record talking about how I don't like redundant characters. And every time you create a new Spider character, you reduce Spider-Man's specialness because, part of the reason why he is so popular is because of his costume and his power set. People like Spider-Man. Just overall. Even before they learn who Peter Parker is, they like Spider-Man. Like, one of my earliest memories of Spider-Man, in my mind, back in the day, they invented these, flyers. They were like paper airplanes, but they were made of, plastic or foam, and they had a rubber band, and you could, throw them, and they, flew through the air.
I remember
and
those.
They had licensed characters on them. That was the first image of Spider-Man in my life. And I thought he looked awesome. And I had to get a comic with him in it because, of course, back then, there was a glut of superhero-related merch. So, I liked the costume. And then when I found out he stuck to things and he looked awesome doing it, I'm like, I'm sold. When you create, 17 Spider characters, or you do an event tied to Spider-Man and have 1,000 Spider characters, you make the fun outsider, connection with that character less special because you have so many other versions. That being said, I recognize the value of Miles Morales, and I don't mean to diminish that character, but Miles should be in the Ultimate Universe because there he can be Spider-Man.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Did you hear
will
a rumor that they were talking about changing his name?
Yes, weren't they for a little while there because it's too confusing or something as Spider-Man? I mean,
Right.
they
And it's
also changed
not,
Spider-Gwen into Ghost Spider.
Ghost Spider. I heard it was going to be something like he was going to be a spy, so they're going to call him Spidey.
Oh, no, yeah, I remember that. That was a while ago now, but yeah, they were doing that.
Yeah.
And he was a spy because his dad works for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with the redundancy of Miles. They're trying too hard to make Miles Peter Parker.
Right. And
Instead
the
of
only-
giving him his own villains, instead of giving him his own story arcs, instead of giving him anything that makes him stand out, his standoutness is, well, he's the Black Spider-Man and he has Venom Blast. And that's literally
Right.
what it boils down to. Because they
Yeah,
don't
and-
give him, even in the Ultimate Universe, he didn't have his own villains. Give him a rogues gallery that he has to fight. Give him something
thing
to
is,
do.
in the Ultimate Universe, I think they did a way better job because I read Ultimate Spider-Man month to month, pretty much from volume 10 until they destroyed the universe, and volume 5 because volume 10 was the Clone Saga. Anyway, the point being, Miles worked in the Ultimate Universe. He is an especially important character in the context of the death of Peter Parker.
Yeah, he is. And they did a great
when
job
Peter's-
with him moving on after that because he took the mantle. But now
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just the other Spider-Man.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah,
and you could. I know you want him in the Ultimate Universe, and I agree with you on that. But you can make him work in the 616. You could still do it because there's very few people who are. I agree with you. There's way too many Spider people, but
Too many Spider people.
Spider-Gwen is in her own universe now. Spider-Woman doesn't count because they always try to attach her and then unattach her.
They keep trying, but she's not connected to that universe.
Exactly.
She's not connected to Peter. Get her out of there.
Kane is gone. Ben Reilly is gone. Right now in the main at 616, the people that are inherently here
Technically, Spider people, yes.
are
They're in the 616
Spider-Man
universe.
and Spider-Man. First, that's your first problem.
Yeah, but Spider Boy sucks. I will say, and all the Spider Women. There's Arachne,
Silk.
Jessica,
Where the hell
Julie.
does Silk go?
Right, there's Silk. there's Arachne slash Madam Web.
Yeah.
There is Jessica Drew, who is technically Spider-Woman, and they keep pushing her into this universe or into this world, the scope. And Aranya, I think, is still Spider-Girl is still technically.
I'm
in this
ignoring
universe, and
all
she
the
still has
ones that
powers.
they created and then got rid of when Spider-Gwen became popular.
So every Spider-Girl.
So basically,
Yeah.
because if you, for anyone who doesn't know, since the dawn of time, Marvel has tried to make a female Spider person popular. Period.
Yep, since the 70s.
And none of them have ever taken like Spider-Gwen did. So once Spider-Gwen was popular, that was the end of all the. Have you noticed we don't see Silk? Have you noticed we don't see Arachno? We don't see any of them unless they have like some weird tie-in thing. We don't see them. Period. That's the end of it. It's
And
because
Silk was working, by the way.
Silk was, yeah.
I didn't like Silk at all, and then once they were like,
No,
"Oh,
I
we gotta do
liked
our
her.
own book."
Do you know
Yeah.
why I like Silk? Do you know why? I feel like we're just in a very interrupty, both of us kind of mode right now.
No, it's fine. Whatever you
The
know,
reason
it's
why
over.
Silk was great is they didn't turn her into Spider-Man with boobs. She had her
Yes.
she had her own plot, her own characters, her own development. She was getting her own villains. Why can't Miles get that treatment?
Well, ironically, that was Jessica Drew too. She had except she has literally no connection to Peter Parker.
Yeah, at all.
And yet that didn't work. And I think it has to do a lot with like the costume, the time period from which she came, and the audience's reaction. But yeah, why can't Miles have the same? I say if you're not gonna resurrect the Ultimate Universe, kill off Ultimate Peter Parker, put Miles in there, and basically just start back from where it was, because Miles earned the mantle and earned his spot in not just like the universe itself, but also in the minds and hearts of the readers. Readers were like, I'm in. Like I was reading Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm reading Ultimate Spider-Man. Miles is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like that's his title. He's not Spider-Man. He's Ultimate Spider-Man. I think that if you're going to do that, then you might as well lean into it completely. He's Spider-Man as well. And you just tell Spider-Man stories. Because the thing is, there used to be like 6 Spider-Man books at a month. You
Yeah.
used to have Web, Spectacular, like
I remember
Unlimited,
those days.
Adjectiveless, Amazing, Spectacular, like
They all ran their
sensational.
own stories that didn't link up for no reason at all.
Yeah, some of them, and then sometimes they'd have a big horrible event that like linked them all up, and you were like, ugh. But just okay, Web of is Miles, and you don't call it Web of, obviously. You don't like make it a derivative. You just go like Spider-Man, and there's Ultimate Spider-Man, because there is no book called Ultimate Spider-Man right now.
No, there isn't.
So you make Miles' book Ultimate Spider-Man. It's set in the main universe. I know it's gonna be confusing, whatever. And like you just treat it like a Spider-Man book, and you just grab any villains that Spider-Man like. You use villains, just any of them. I mean, I would toss out like Hobgoblin would be a really fun villain for Miles.
It would
like,
be.
you know.
I was gonna say I will say this. They have been trying to give him villains, but it's almost
know.
like Marvel's overhead is like, no. Give him some people we know. Because I just did the video.
We don't want to lose readers.
First, we have
'cause, like, it's-
Prowler. Prowler is like his one villain. But
Right.
since
Well,
Prowler
it's
is his
the
uncle,
most connected.
right? Well, but since Prowler's his uncle, he's always like, well, I'm going good now. So I'm not really a villain. I'm like,
Yeah, you can only do that so many times, especially if like it would be terrible if Green Goblin would not be as successful, popular, or as intrinsic to Spider-Man's mythology if like he were like, I don't know, Spider-Man, Peter Parker's like maternal uncle or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like, well, Uncle Ben was the one who taught me responsibility and died, and Uncle Norman was the one who became a Green Goblin and tried to kill me every week. Like it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It would be weird, and it would be like too frustrating for readers and writers, because it's like, oh my god, like this every time he does anything with family, which is an intrinsic part of the character, it's gonna come up,
right.
And we can't.
By
keep
the
coming up
way,
with reasons.
Uncle Aaron's the Prowler.
Right, like you can. It was part of the reason why it was hard to have too many villains know who Peter Parker was, because it's like, well, if they're psychos and they have no family or like things to distract them, why don't they just try to kill Peter Parker 24/7? Like, it's why they had to put Venom on an island. It's why they had to give Green Goblin amnesia. You had to keep getting you had to invent narrative reasons for why your book keeps going.
Yeah.
Miles is in the same boat where he's just like he's young Spider-Man, but Marvel is also like, well, but Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker, can't be too old, so he's kind of young Spider-Man.
Right, like
And-
it's weird because Miles is like early, like he's in his 19, 20 range. But regular Peter Parker, he's got to be young enough that it's not weird that he's not married still. So 30s?
Yeah, he's gonna be like 27.
Yeah.
he can't be 30. 30's a no. Like that's the no.
Well, he owned Parker Industries. So I'm gonna say he's 29. I'm gonna say he's 29 at least.
Peter Parker's been 32 since I was a kid. Like for me, like when Peter Parker graduated graduate school, I'm like, okay, well he's 30 something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is for. My solution
Miles
is
has to be
put him in the Ultimate Universe.
No, well, not that. My answer for Miles is separate him. Don't put him in his. You don't need to put him in his own universe. You can leave him there, but he needs to stop always being the other Spider-Man, because that's even the ongoing joke in the comic. Oh, you're the other one. Like, no.
You know what you could
need
do?
to just ignore the fact that it's two Spider-Men. That's how you fix
Right.
this. You ignore it. And no one really acknowledges it except for those big events where he does team up with them or fights like Doc Ock. Then you can have the "oh, you're the other one" joke. But that shouldn't be the comment they make every time he runs into anybody. Like,
know what
S.H.I.E.L.D.
you do
shows
with
up,
him?
"oh, you're the other one." Avengers
Right.
show up, "oh, you're the other one." You know, like
I think that the way to do it is they need to have like synergy within the Spider Office and go like, okay, Spider-Man will not be joining any teams. Like Peter Parker will not be on any teams for the next 2 years. If you want Spider-Man on a team, it will be Miles. You know what I mean? So it's like Miles is the Avenger Spider-Man. Miles is the team book.
yeah.
And because it's not hard to explain why he's not on a team in his main book, because they do the same thing with Peter Parker Spider-Man. So it's like, do the things, because it's like in every event, Spider-Man has to be front and center, or at the very least in some way connected so he can sell more books. Well, use Miles then. Like, put him in the places where it works, or could work, because corporately speaking, we got to put Spider-Man in there somewhere. Like, make Spider-Man the team player. That way Peter Parker can continue to be the loner again. Or if you don't like that, you're like, no, Peter's too old. It would be weird. Okay, then Miles is the loner. Miles is the one on the fringe.
Yeah.
He's never on a team. He's never in a big thing. You know, he's always the marginalized Spider-Man. I mean,
Didn't
I
they
don't
do
wanna
that with
make
some
them-
character when they had them doubled up? I mean, for the longest time, X-23 was
Kane did that.
Wolverine on the main one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kane did that. Kane was the one that always got put on different team books. So we'd have
Yep.
which,
New Warrior Kane.
Which also made no sense because Kane was the one that would murder and didn't care and didn't want to be around people.
Yeah,
But you can't
but
have
the same
normal
guy who-
Peter Parker on a team.
No, it was the guy who wrote Kane also wrote the New Warriors book.
Yeah, I know. So he carried his story.
And he's like, well, you canceled my Spider-Man book. I guess I'll put him on my team. Even though it doesn't make any sense, and he would never join this team.
he would never join
Although-
any team. Kane was so cool
Yeah.
because he was the true loner Spider-Man.
Yeah, Kane, man, what a disappointment. There were so many opportunities with Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock as Spider-Man. That should have sold. That should still be
I
a book.
don't know why that everyone loves Superior Spider-Man. He finally gets a book where he's finally going through an actual redemption arc, and it doesn't sell at all. Like, what was that?
and then they wrecked it. And it's like, okay, so you got that. Scarlet Spider Kane was a great book. Should have continued. And if you keep
that
making
one
these
did
Spider
go a
people,
while. That one. Which one? Which one? Ben
the
Ri-
first one,
Okay.
not the Ben Riley one,
The Houston,
Kane
Texas
Like,
one. That went a really
Yeah,
long
yeah.
time.
It's a good book, and I don't know what the problem was, because you had Stegman on art. I don't get why it didn't sell quite as well. That suit was fire. The idea was cool. Kane was not a very complicated villain. Maybe it was just that Gage, who wrote it, I believe, was just he made too many deep cuts. I remember like they really leaned into the other thing. They had Kraven fight him. I was like, it was a great idea. But if you're like a new reader who just thinks Spider-Man looks cool, maybe this is not the right arc for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, you're not wrong, and maybe they were just trying too hard to pull Kane into the lore. He also tried to do the
Yeah.
whole totem thing, but like Kane
Yeah,
was
that's
dealing
what I'm
with,
saying.
Kane was doing the totem thing. Peter's over
Yeah,
here
yeah.
doing Peter things.
But like nobody wants that totem thing. Like fans don't want it, and non-fans don't understand it. Don't do the totem thing. But I respect the hell that you did it. You know what? I love the fact that Kane's the other. If you need to make the other still in canon, I love that Kane's the other, and I think that was really brilliant. You know what? Applause. I still didn't buy it because I don't think that's cool. I don't like that stuff, but I do appreciate that people do, and I want them to buy it.
I like
We're talking
it.
about Spider-Man too much.
No, I mean whatever. This is gonna be a longer episode than normal, I think.
All right, fine.
I'm supposed to do Destiny after this, but I'm already playing Destiny, working on my Souls and stuff, so I'm just going to do more of it after, so it's kind of like whatever.
Sweet.
I'm just going to switch
I-
streams to play Destiny, keep talking comics.
That's fair. Honestly, at main point, Miles deserves to be higher profile and to have his own place. And I think that when they moved him into the main universe, they did a disservice to him. Like, I think that was the beginning of the end for Miles, and he got a big renaissance thanks entirely to the movie.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Okay, so moving on to canceled comics, Marvel's canceling Doctor Strange at issue 6. Marvel's canceling, I guess they're doing a U.S. Agent 5 issue miniseries. There was another book that just got the announcement that it's being canceled. That was really a big deal. What was that one?
Oh, I don't know.
He didn't
But I'll
grab
talk
it.
a little bit about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is already canceled. Issue 6 came out last week, and it definitely wrapped up the arc and the series of Doctor Strange, Surgeon Supreme. There are two little letters in there, one from both writers on that book, makes sense. I don't know. I think that there's something suspicious about it because Mark Waid's Doctor Strange book ends a week before they announced that Mark Waid was going to be in the DC fandom.
You think maybe
Says to me that
he may have signed
says
something?
to me he was. I think they gave him Superman, and he's like, well, then I'm leaving Doctor Strange, obviously. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were like, okay, listen, the only reason people were freaking buying Doctor Strange Surgeon Supreme is because Mark Waid's name was on it, so that book's over. Which is too bad because, I feel like the other writer on it cared more about Doctor Strange than Waid did.
Mark Waid has been, I'm not going to go
Hit
much
or
into
miss.
this. He's been so hit or miss in the last, 10 to 15 years.
Agreed.
I don't know what happened. He used to be so good, but that's whatever.
Yep. But he wrote Kingdom Come, so he's gonna get a pass from me. But yeah, I agree. Mark Waid is hit or miss in a big bad way. But I would read his Superman run twice. I'm in. Go for it. If this is all hearsay, it's all made up. I don't know if it's true, but he's gonna be at the Fandom.
Yeah. I don't know. In relation to that, if he's supposedly getting Superman, now that we're this far into the whole Bendis Superman, where it was all going to play it out, and he's like, I've told my story. What do you think?
I think it's inevitable. I think that Bendis's run on Superman was supposed to be putting Bendis on Superman was supposed to be the finally Superman's going to crack the top 5 best-selling books of the month.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
It actually didn't.
So
I know there's fans of his run, and I have enjoyed some of the stories he told. I'm not even going to deny that. But it didn't move it. It didn't push it anywhere past where it stayed.
It
right
didn't
where it was.
sell. It stayed exactly where it was. Basically what it was saying was, Superman fans are going to buy Superman, but it doesn't matter who's writing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could put anybody on it, or worse yet, Tomasi made Superman sell this much, and then you killed it.
Yeah. Tomasi was getting it a lot of momentum on it. It almost reminds me of the Tom King Batman thing, where it's just Tom King still has his fans. I'm a fan of what he did on there, but his Batman run was very divisive, and sales did not sustain where they were supposed to. It was never in any way, shape, or form in danger of being canceled. It was never in any way, shape, or form in a bad place, but it was no longer top 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it remained in the top 5, but Batman should be in the number 1 or 2 spot at all times, according to DC's bottom line. Not necessarily I agree with that. I'm just saying DC's bottom line is contingent on Batman being in the top 2.
Yeah.
But I feel I like the idea of Waid doing Superman more than Bendis, and I feel bad because I know that Bendis doing Superman was kind of a passion project. He was he likes Superman. He wants to do Superman. I get it, but it don't sell. So go be someplace where your talents are better used.
Well, he's not leaving
It
DC, right? He's just leaving Superman.
No. Well, we don't even know if he's leaving Superman.
No, he said it. He said he's wrapping.
Oh,
up.
has he said?
Yeah, he straight up said he's wrapping up his Superman run. It's coming.
Okay, that's right. I remember him saying that,
Right,
but I remember it could have been within a year. We don't even know.
He didn't give a time or a day. He just said his inevitable conclusion is coming, and everyone
Yes.
freaked out oh my god!
He got fired, and it's he probably did.
I think,
But,
you know what?
yeah.
It's Bendis. I don't think he got fired, but what I wouldn't put it past DC was you need to change your story. You could stay on it, but we
Yeah.
need to try something else. This isn't working. So we need a different
Yeah.
story. And he was like, no, this is the story I wanted to tell. So if I'm not
Right.
telling it, I'm going to go do something else.
Well, it's and you know what? Bendis can do what he wants.
Yeah.
and not that he should be able to do what he wants, but like if Bendis doesn't want to write a story he doesn't want to write, I wouldn't be the one to tell him not to. I wouldn't put him on the book if it's like the book's selling poorly. Every month it does worse. You're off the book. Like, it's just, I wouldn't be like, tell a different story. Tell a story with Doomsday in it. Like, I'd literally just be like, well, you're off the book. Like,
He's Bendis and he's too high profile for them to just be like, well, you're fired off the book, so you got to do something else. I don't think I have a feeling that the contract probably has Bendis can do what he wants, DC can demand a change, but he has the option to go do something else if that happens.
Exactly. He has right of refusal.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, and I don't blame him. Like, and the fact is, like, it's not that it's DC, because I've sung the praises of Batman Universe. It's the best Bendis DC book he's ever written.
Oh, it's amazing. I loved it. And maybe the fact that everyone's saying Bendis did amazing on Batman. They're like, yeah, why don't we put you over at that style?
Right. Like, hey, why didn't you write Batman in the first place?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, obviously he didn't want to. And I don't want to pigeonhole people. I don't want to be like, well, you write Daredevil really well. You probably do Batman well. I mean, yeah, that's how the fan drafting goes. We're all like, oh, who would be a great Spider-Man? Obviously Peter J. Tomasi, because he writes a good Superman. But at the same time, I understand writers being like, I'm a creative person. I could write anybody if I put my mind to it.
Right.
And it's like, yeah. But you've proven you can't sell Superman, and that's fine. Like, there's no shame in that. Go sell something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's so different than what's it called? I forgot what I was gonna say. So let's move on to the next topic.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah. You're fine. New Mutants is still on track for a theatrical release this month.
Good luck.
Oh my god, dude. Okay.
We've
theorized this as the dawn of time. At this point, there has to be some contractual shit that it goes into theaters. There's no way that there isn't, because they're putting Mulan on Disney Plus, and you're telling me that they're still pushing for New Mutants in the theater, and there's no contractual reason to do it.
I don't know. It's got to be crazy.
There's got to be something behind the scenes. There has to be something behind the scenes.
Yep. Well, guess what? I'm not seeing it in theaters.
No, I'm not either.
Like, I will see it. Listen, I'm going to definitely see Bill and Ted 3 in my living room, and I'll pay the $20. And we're going to have an amazing viewing party, and we're going to laugh our asses
pizza,
off.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah, I am going to have a baller time. It's going to be totally bodacious. But I'll do the same for New Mutants. Like, they're charging $30 to rent Mulan on Disney Plus.
Right.
I'll pay $30 for New Mutants. Not because I agree with the idea. Like, because here's the thing. I don't pay a movie theater to let me in and then decide what movie I'm going to see and then pay to see the movie. So I don't agree with the $30 pricing for Mulan. But with New Mutants, it's like, listen.
I actually do.
This movie is never going to come out. So you're either going to pay $30 to see it, or no one's going to go see it. It's like, all right. And my job is to talk about comic movies anyway, so like, sure, yeah, I'll pay $30. Like, that sucks, but I will.
Right.
And I'm gonna cram my living room with people. No, but like,
see that right there, your reasoning behind it. That's why I think the $30 price tag is not a terrible thing. Because two people going to the theater, it's like $30. That doesn't even include snacks or anything.
Right.
But if we happen to get, I get 6 people in my living room. If you split the cost, you're looking at a $5 movie. That's why I don't disagree with the $30 price tag. Now, it does suck if you're the kind of person that goes to see a movie alone. I'll agree with that. Yeah. But if you you and Tiffany are at least going to watch it, right?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Tiffany likes Mulan. We're going to go see it. Yeah. We're going to rent it. Yeah.
So, but like, you got your money's worth.
Also, but then make it available through like something else. Because I'm paying you, Disney, for this app. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just this. You're adding cost. If I didn't have Disney Plus, I'd have to pay for the app and Mulan.
Right.
It's not like I'm paying $30. For Bill and Ted, I'm paying $20, and I'm not paying some kind of like subscription fee to be given the opportunity to use the format to watch Bill and Ted. And that's my issue. Is like, it's not reasonably priced. And the fact is, I'm sorry, Disney, but you're not going to make your money back on Mulan.
Oh, no.
You probably weren't going to make it back if it was going to be released in theaters.
Dude, the amount of controversy that movie has had at this point, they weren't making shit
Yeah, the movie cost, I think, over $200 million.
It has been
Listen,
littered with nothing but controversy.
Yep, I know you spent $200 million on a Mulan movie because you thought the Chinese audiences would go see it. So I know you were banking on that. You're not getting it. I'm sorry, you trillion-dollar mega conglomerate, that your $200 million movie won't make its money back.
Well, yeah, they built it for the Chinese audience. Then the actors all came out against the whole situation in China. Then didn't they ban it in China too at this point?
I don't even know. It's been like I heard that the main actor was pro Hong Kong, was anti Hong Kong. I've heard all the stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like, listen, I don't talk about Mulan for a living, so I'm not gonna pay attention to this crap anymore. Like, like I talk about comics. I'm not talking about Mulan for 3 hours.
Well,
but
they also pulled out like the dragon Mushu and stuff like that. Like they pulled out all
no songs,
no song.
Yeah.
Like, one hand, I wanted to see it just out of curiosity. On the other hand, like, that's pretty much what I liked about Mulan as a kid.
Yeah, but it looks dope. Like the thing is, I'm down for a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon-esque like movie about Mulan.
Yeah,
it's a cool premise enough. I'm down. That being said, I'm also not gonna pay $30 to go see it.
So, all right, well, that's the Mulan situation. Justin Williamson, New Mutant.
Also, by the way, there's only like 3 songs in Mulan, so like, come on.
Oh yeah, why couldn't they recreate them?
You could do "I'll Make a Man Out of You." Like there's a lot of really great songs in that. By the way, they also used like one of the title songs from the cartoon movie in the trailer, and I'm like, that song's not in the movie. But you're trying to get me to go see it because I hear the song.
I just love the way you're saying it.
It's just like Mulan's great. Songs are dope. I wish, but like, whatever. My point ultimately was, you're not going to make your money back anyway. Just put it out on Disney Plus. Hey, you know how you'll make up that extra couple of dollars? Through all the other people who haven't joined Disney Plus yet.
Yeah.
That's what you do. It's not like HBO Max is going to put out the Snyder Cut and charge you $20 to use it. Like
that's true. They're it's just a part of it. Yeah.
Yes, Snyder Cut is there to get people to join HBO Max. Mulan could have been the same damn thing. Of course, we all joined Disney Plus because Mandalorian came out. But whatever, a lot of people canceled it because Mandalorian won't be out for another year.
Wait, did they push it back that far?
No, I don't know. I don't know when it's coming out. I assume a year because it takes a while for these shows to get
Jessica
made,
Negri, the cosplayer girl, who's basically just pretty much known for her boobs.
She's cool. She's an influencer.
No, she's cool. I've actually met her. She's a cool person. But like, whenever you mention her in any kind of situation that people that don't know her as an influencer, the cosplay boob girl. Like, man, well, at least she leans into it. She doesn't seem offended.
I think Yaya Han is the cosplay boob girl, but I appreciate runner up Jessica Negri.
Runner up. She's the runner up, guys.
Yaya Han is the if you're gonna think of boobs in cosplay, and that's
anyway, I don't know. Oh no, she posted a picture of like a female Mandalorian talking about season 2, and I was just like, is that legit, or is she just doing cosplay? I don't even know, but
no, it's coming out. Yeah, we're getting season 2.
No, I know that, but is there like?
Oh, do you think she's in it?
Not her, but a female Mandalorian. It was a full body Mandalorian suit.
Well, I mean, I think the head of the Mandalorian Order was a woman. Like we've got.
Oh yeah, but like to actually have her in the role, like she's gonna do something. I'm not in the boat of the guys that were like, oh, we needed more women in Mandalorian. Like, the story of Mandalorian was a dude and a baby. Like, it wasn't even like, it was a crew of men. It was one dude, one baby. Like, that was the plot.
And we don't even know if it's a girl or not.
Yeah.
No, I don't want another Mandalorian. I want my Mandalorian. I want that Mandalorian doing his thing. I don't want seasons of new Mandalorians. Like,
no, but like another character. And what do you think they're going to do when they finally finish the Mandalorian storyline? Eventually he has to be done, and you really think Disney's going to go, well, that's it, we're going to close it up?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's why they're throwing like everything at the wall, because like hopefully they can dovetail from Mandalorian to like the next Star Wars property they're going to
butcher
milk into oblivion.
Yeah.
No, because Mandalorian's great. They didn't butcher anything. Mandalorian is the best Star Wars thing made in the last 25 years.
Oh no, I agree with you on that. Mandalorian is worth every penny of it.
By the way, having rewatched Solo and Rogue One, I dig those. They're pretty okay. I dig Solo. I dig Rogue One. I'm all right.
Who hurt you when you were
I don't
young?
know if I love... George Lucas. He put 3 movie-sized bullets through my heart.
He did. He did. Was it episode 1 through 3?
Yes.
Sal, I have the high ground.
Actually, 4 because I also have the
I have the
Star
high
Wars Holiday
ground,
Special.
Sal.
Yeah, I have the thing that wasn't established at any point in this lore. Don't try it. And then he just does anyway. No, but it highlights his arrogance. Don't you get it?
All right.
I'm not gonna bag on the prequels. I did that enough in my teens.
Yeah, but I heard you loved Jar Jar Binks. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, he's great.
We're going to talk about...
You know what's funny?
What's that?
Oh, I watched that Robot Chicken sketch where Jar Jar visits Vader again last night with Ahmed Best actually reprising his role as Jar Jar. It's so funny.
Is it? I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
Have
seen
you not seen it? It's amazing.
Nah.
It's just literally, for no reason, Jar Jar's on the Death Star, and he's like, "Oh, Annie!" And Vader's like, "Jar Jar, listen to me very carefully. You have to go away." And he's like, "No!" And then he just kills them. It's so funny.
You have to go away.
Yeah, you have to go. And then all right. Anyway,
You okay
yeah,
there,
go
Sal?
watch it. It's amazing. It's just funny. It's just great, and it's cathartic.
So, all right. Well, moving on.
where were you going?
Well, I was going to say, we're going to talk about the DC thing. I actually was thinking a little bit about it. I don't think we're going to have that much to say, but we'll talk about it in a minute anyway.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, no, there was one more topic. The Boys Season 2 dropped. 3 is confirmed. There's not much to say other than it looks amazing. And I was confused because everyone was ranting and raving. The Boys, the Boys, the Boys. I thought The Boys was coming out. No, it was the trailer coming out.
Yes.
Like, Natalie and I were blitzing down Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol to get caught up so that we can watch The Boys. And then,
Yeah.
like, it was 2 days ago. We're like, yeah, The Boys came out Friday. You ready? Like, because what is today, Tuesday? So, yeah, it was like Sunday, Saturday night. Like, The Boys, you ready to watch it? And you want to watch the trailer?
Like, the trailer? That's not the show. That's cool, though. I mean, like, it's a good show.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. The other thing
Yeah,
that I
totally.
don't think matters to you, but my gamer app friends are going to like it, the Marvel Realms of Champion mobile game had its first trailer announced. It looks like a console game. That's a Dan put. Actually, I'm going to look at it real fast. I'm going to get it because I play almost every mobile game that comes out. I play Strike Force. I play Future Fight. I have all the characters I like in those games. I don't go ham on them, and I think I'm kind of waiting for a game like this to come out, something I can go ham for.
Yeah.
But I will say, I don't know if you're a fan of Marvel games between this new MOBA, the existing Future Fight, the existing Strike Force, the Marvel's Avengers, the Spider-Man game. I feel like this is a really good time to be a fan of Marvel and a gamer.
Right. Yeah, because you have whatever your play style is, you have a game.
Yeah, and that's basically what I think it's boiling down to. We're getting to that point. No matter what your style is, you have a game that you can enjoy, and it'll be for you. It's been my biggest argument over the Avengers Marvel game, where they're like, we wanted a Spider-Man game. Like, you did. I wanted a looter shooter. Like, I wanted a co-op game. I wanted to be able to go, Sal,
Right.
I know you don't ever play video games, but will you be my Hulk?
I hate playing Hulk. I want to be Cap or Black Widow.
Sal, if I will buy you whatever I need to buy you if you'll join me for one session.
We pre-ordered it.
Oh, guys, you heard him. We're finally going to have Sal playing a video game with me. It's finally going to happen. I might be reading
We'll
a little into what he just said, but it's
Yeah, we played the beta the other day. Tiffany had me play for a little while. Then we lost power, and I was like, all right, I'm done.
But it's fun though, isn't it?
It is fun. You know what? My only issue was Iron Man. I was like, I was so hyped to play Iron Man, and I'm like, I can't really fly around. Like I was like, it was hard to get my bearings. But everybody else, I was like, this
You
is
weren't
great.
in the
This is
right
great.
level. If you try to do it in the hallway levels, it's a little wonky. But when you're out in the open areas, it's a lot better. So
Okay. Yeah, but I liked it. It was all fun. I was like, this is great. I'm really enjoying it. I like this game.
and for the record,
Was it me?
what's that?
I was gonna say, was it me, or did they change Black Widow's face from the last
I
trailer
think they
to
did.
this?
I think they did. They changed it
I think
just
they
a
did
little.
too.
I think that was what people called it. I think they're going to change all of them. They tried too hard to make them. What is it called? People call it Uncanny Valley. I don't even know what the reference is.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
everyone said, "Oh, it's just it's too weird." Like they didn't look. I'll agree. They looked like they were trying too hard to make them look realistic.
Well, and like the movie characters, like they try to make them look like distinct. You know, like the dude who's the character model for Bruce Banner. I'm like, you're just trying to make him look like Mark Ruffalo. Okay.
That's Troy Baker.
Yeah, I know. Well, Troy Baker, the voice,
Yeah.
but not like the physical model. Like he looks
No,
like
I think
Mark
that was
Ruffalo.
the weird part. They tried to make it look like Troy Baker, but then like, how close can we make Troy Baker look like Mark Ruffalo? Like,
Yeah, that's really weird. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just make them look like their comic book versions. Like, Cap is the most egregious. He looks really bizarre. I'm like,
he does, because if you
But,
played that, you saw the load tabs where it's like all in his face. And you're like, you okay there, buddy?
yeah. Yeah, I am excited though because the costume options are great, and so when they reveal that Cap didn't die, they'll be like, you'll get a really cool Captain America costume.
So that actually,
Like,
I'll take that as the last topic. Then you bring up a really good point, Sal, and I'm interrupting you intentionally right now because
Please, yeah.
there's a rumor that the U.S. Agent comic that's coming out is going to confirm that Cap is going to stay dead.
No way. I think that no, I that would be really cool. Not cool.
I
no.
don't think they have the
That'd be
balls
very-
to do it.
No way.
I don't think they do.
No way. No. Unless, well, here's the thing. I think that the U.S. Agent comic is coming out because Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which features Wyatt Russell as the U.S. Agent, was supposed to be out.
When did that get pushed back to?
Like next year.
Oh my God, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough.
Ruffalo.
So I think, but yeah, I think that's what it was. I don't, because that video game, the reason why it's a Terrigen bomb at all is because it was pre-Fox acquisition.
Oh, 100%. Everyone's like, why is it, what's with the Inhumans? Like, oh, we're doing this again.
Yeah. Oh, you missed. Oh, gamers, you missed this whole thing. You see, they thought that Inhumans would be a good analog for mutants. Aren't they wrong? We all figured that out about 5 years ago. But the game, I think the game was in too much development for them to be like, oh, do a comic tie-in to address the U.S. Agent replacement. Now, I think U.S. Agent is getting a comic because they were going to have a show with U.S. Agent in it, like relatively around the same time.
So they're probably still going to put it out, see if it could sell a well enough numbers to do another one when Falcon Winter Soldier.
Exactly.
Because
And why
right now,
not?
I think
Like,
Marvel's
'cause-
just looking for comics to be produced. They're canceling half the book.
Right.
So a book that's
Right.
already completed, yeah, let's just get that out. Like,
And I think Chris Priest wrote this one, so it's like, well, it's good. It's not like it's nobody writing this book.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Chris Priest doing a U.S. Agent book? I'll tune in. That's weird.
that's
I'll
weird.
check it out.
So, all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the DC news to end our show. Okay.
Yes.
So, for those who don't know, DC did massive layoffs. Now, I'm actually a little irritated that is what was put out. DC did massive layoffs because when I first saw that, I was like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
but if you look into it, what DC laid off was pretty much anything that was redundant due to the AT&T deal. Now, I will state, this is, I think they totaled it like almost 800 employees. This is shitty that this happened. This is not it's okay because it wasn't who we cared about. Sal and I knew a lot of those DC Universe guys, like a good chunk of the team. This is shitty. This is. But what was laid off is DC Universe was completely canned, basically. There's probably like a skeleton crew to keep it moving until they decide what to do with it. And they shut down the DC Collectible team,
Yes.
which I'm also upset about that because I love DC Collectibles.
Yeah, I mean, like, that sucks. And it seems like the prevailing opinion is that they're going to, like, license out the characters to, like, anybody else. So it's like you won't have DC making their own collectibles. They'll have, like, anybody make DC collectibles, and you can just get them everywhere.
Well, I thought that it was falling under the WB roster. That was the reason.
Yeah, I mean, it all is. I mean, like, well, Warner Brothers, AT&T, whatever, they laid off, like, pretty much anyone at the executive level. They let go of Bob Harris, editor-in-chief of DC Comics. They let go of Brian Cunningham. They let go of everybody. Like, anybody you know.
They did the usual acquisition happen. We're cleaning up anyone to put our people in. That's exactly what they've done. And then anything redundant, like DC Universe and HBO Max, they're like, no, fire those 800 people and put in the HBO Max people. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the collectibles. It's now falling under they got rid of DC Direct because they're putting it under the WB collectibles side of the house. How
That's interesting. I don't know. I didn't know that it was like that they were just going to make it WB Collectibles. I didn't know Warner Bros. Had a collectibles market.
they do apparently.
Like,
This isn't new. Like they already existed. They just didn't touch DC, which is why you didn't know they existed.
That's really weird that they didn't. That's so stupid. But well, then that's interesting. I'll be interested to see like where that goes. What do they make? What does their production look like? Are they equipped to do that?
Yeah, I don't know if they make their own products, if they outsource it. I have no idea what those people do. So
yeah. But I do know that I think it's pretty much confirmed Jim Lee won't be co-publisher anymore. He's going to be like chief creative officer. They're going to have they're either going to have a new editor in chief, or they're going to remove the position entirely. They're not going to they're going to have somebody installed on the publishing label that won't be from the comics, that won't be from there won't be a familiar name.
I think that's smart.
It's
as we've seen time and time again, people who are involved in comics intrinsically don't always make the best decisions on a business level. They make a lot of times really good decisions for fans, or they make really terrible decisions like Axel Alonso. But anyway,
right.
But,
well, I mean,
I joke, but Axel Alonso's decisions to try and replace all the characters of the Younger Heroes, and even Dan DiDio's plan with 5G, that regardless of us disliking it, those were plans to revitalize their brand. We just didn't think it'd work. That's what that boils down to.
No, I honestly, I think Alonso was asleep at the wheel. I think that like all different Marvel initiative happened by accident, and he tried to spin it into an initiative. I think that it was more like they had a massively low amount of editors, and no one was reading the books written by their top tier talent, and so they went, oh, they're letting me do whatever I want. Hey, quick, Nick, you want to replace Cap? You want to replace so-and-so? Like, you want to replace everybody? Like, we can do that. No one's paying attention. And then Alonso got, like, the books, and he's like, everyone's different. It's all new and all different Marvel. Oh! Like, I honestly and sincerely feel that way, because I feel like Marvel is just...
Well, didn't they come out and state, like, if you talk to people who are talking to the insiders, they're like legitimately... It was just a weird coincidence that all the writers decided, like, there was no top-down initiative. It was just every writer wanted to make their own character. That's all it came down to.
That's right. Also, the editor of the Black Label line was fired. And so the question is, like, is Black Label gone? Is that done?
The problem is, Sal, what just got answered is the questions that you and I have been asking for like a year of podcasting. How is DC Universe supposed to survive? DC Universe came out, and 3 months later, they were like, HBO Max, and we were like, how are those going to coexist? And then as the
they're not
right, and then as the years went on, as the months have gone on, they were like, HBO Max gets Doom Patrol. We're like, how? Why? Like,
yeah, like, but that directly, you're creating a competition right now.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, no, well that's because we don't care.
Well, that's what, like, because we kept asking, what's going to happen to DC Universe? Well, what's going to happen is they're going to shut it down in it's entirety and move all the products. Like,
yep.
And I believe the same thing happened though with it's the redundancies. It's just that's what it seems like. Anything that we've been saying, like Black Label, that was the other one I was going into.
Right. Yeah.
We kept saying over and over with Black Label. What happened to Black Label after AT&T and Warner Brothers realized they put a bat penis in it? Because it didn't seem to have an initiative. It didn't seem to have a directive. It was supposed to be what if tales that were adult oriented, and now it's just whatever we can get our hands on.
I think they had a plan for Black Label, and I think that ultimately the Black Label initiative was created by the old guard. And when Lifford came in, she's like, I don't want to do anything that the last person approved. And when the Batwang appeared, basically Lifford's like, thanks for giving me the excuse I need to basically gut this entire line and then render it irrelevant and then allow us to move forward with something else. Because Black Label did proceed as planned, essentially, because some of those books came out, but a lot of them didn't. And I think the Black Label was hamstrung because the people in charge of DC Warner's after Black Label was launched didn't want to support that line, didn't want to go in that direction with those characters, didn't want to do anything that the previous guard thought was a good idea. And so as such, we have this like weird everything's Black Label and nothing is at the same time.
Yeah.
And now that the editor of Black Label, the one who spearheaded everything and took care of everything, Mark Doyle, is gone, they're like, I guarantee you, because they're not going to not publish books that are done, right? The books are like, I can imagine they'd be thrilled not to have to publish Three Jokers, but Three Jokers is done. And so they're like, okay, Three Jokers is coming out, but they're not going to like tie an event to it. They're not going to sell it like, oh man, what does this mean for Batman now? It'll be a book that sells well, that comes out, and then it'll be done. And when that's done, you'll never see the Black Label line again. Like when the last Black Label book that had been produced this year is Done.
Right.
They will remove, retire, and replace that label entirely.
I have one question for you, just as a fun theory. What
Yeah,
if
yeah.
Three Jokers is going to tie into Joker War? At the end of the Joker War, the Three Jokers will arrive in the main continuity.
That'd be interesting. I mean, like that. I'd be surprised. But I think we're at issue 97, so there's 3 issues, 3 months. 3 Jokers comes out this month, next month, the following month. So it could.
It could all line up perfectly.
It could all line up. But even if it does, what do you get? You know, it's not like a publishing line. It's not like 5G. It's just you get 2 more Jokers out of it. Like, okay.
Do you think they're going to keep Tinian on? Or do you think they're going to move him off?
No, I don't think so. I for the longest time thought it'd be a great idea, and I thought because he's proven people like his run. His stuff is cool. He clearly was planning only to do this one up until 100, or maybe 101.
I think it's 101. I think he has 1 extra issue with that.
Yeah, and I think he was only really planning to write those issues to fill in for the replacement writer who was going to take over for 5G. Now, I think that at Fandom, you'll hear who's going to write Batman after 101.
That's true. I can see
And
that.
I don't think it's going to be Tynion.
If you're reading the tie-ins to Joker War, you could see that Tynion had a lot of other plans, but he obviously couldn't cram it into 8 issues. So it's being crammed into other issues where he's fighting Batgirl and Nightwing and all those.
Yeah. I could see it going either way. I could see that Tynion was like, I want to do that. Like, I could see him telegraphing, like, hey, if you just like me, you could keep me for another 100 issues. And, like, I'm happy to stay. And let me, like, tease a couple things in there. But I think it's more like an audition for the job that's coming up as opposed to him being, like, told he was going to take over. I think it's more like he was an interim writer. He's happy to take the gig. And he'd be happy to keep going. But I don't think he's going to be there after 101.
I also think DC's not going to be hiring anyone for full 100-issue runs guaranteed out of the gate now.
Oh, that's over.
Yeah.
Oh, the rumors about after this bloodbath they're describing are that they're actually re-examining the exclusive contracts they have with people like Bendis and Snyder.
Oh.
So, like, I think that it's the end of the exclusive contract at DC. I think that, like, it's the end of the superstar writer at DC. That, like, from comics, that instead, like, you're gonna have DC books that are coming out from people who, like, wrote shows and, like, maybe people who, like, want to moonlight from movies.
Involved?
Yeah.
You think AT&T's going to
I
kind of...
do.
DC's going to start looking more corporate like Marvel, basically?
Kind of. Marvel's interesting because Disney is more like, Marvel, whatever. What are you doing? Like, they're like, do we have a kids imprint? No, IDW will do it. Like, but otherwise, just make your comics. I don't care. Like, we can afford.
You say that, but they definitely have something involved. Like, Disney's not hands off with Marvel.
I think they're more hands off than AT&T Warner's is with DC right now.
Well, right now,
And
but
I think
when Marvel first came in, they were pretty hands on, and then they stepped away. And
I think so too.
yeah.
Yeah, but like I think that installing Feige as the, like, chief creative officer of Marvel Comics was their way of being like, now we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
agree with you on that.
okay.
100%.
Feige's got this. And he doesn't. He doesn't give a shit. Like, if he does care, he's just like, he probably went to the board of directors or whatever, and he was like, hey guys, just do what you're gonna do. Whatever you got, just keep doing that. And don't put any penises in your books. Ha ha. But seriously, if you do, you're fired. Like, and then leaves. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably
I
his
could
whole,
also-
like, big pep talk.
I could also see him going, if it's in a movie, I want a comic about it.
Yeah. When we're gonna tell you ahead of time what movie's coming out next year. I'd like a book that comes out at the same time as the movie, so make sure you have a team. I don't know who writes these things, but whoever does, just get them to do it, whatever, and just get it done. Okay?
You know what
And in the meantime, do what you do best.
You know what I do find to be funny, though? Remember those who will not be named ranting, DC's going to die because of AT&T. Well, I think this just proves that AT&T, like, I don't even consider this a death of DC. I consider this, DC laid off a massive amount of redundant and extra employees that they were just wasting funds on. That's what it is right now.
I feel like they've let go of a lot of people who were doing work that they don't have faith the people who are working on them can do. I think we did lose redundancies, but I think we also lost some really, really great editors and some really, really, like, passionate people who worked on these comics and who could have kept going and making great stuff. And so like,
I
think
do
they're being
agree.
removed so that
I say redundancy.
and I think
like
they're being
those-
removed so that Warner Brothers can be like replace them with their own people.
Yeah, and I do agree with you on that. I mean, I say redundancies.
Create
and
better synergy.
There's no way there was 800 redundancies. There's
Right.
that is not accurate. I apologize for that. That was not a good statement to
Yeah,
make.
yeah. That's fair.
But at the same time, they didn't like Jim Lee's still there. Like all their superstar talent is still there.
But he isn't a publisher. He isn't a publisher anymore. And Jim Lee is still like, Jim Lee is a big enough name where it's like he's got to be at some part of the company, or it'll look bad. And we really don't want him to write or to draw Jonathan Hickman's Age of Apocalypse.
That'd be cool though.
I know. I pitched this on my other show. I was like, you know, if Jim Lee felt like DC didn't want him, or if Jim Lee was part of the layoffs, he's still doing well enough where he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to work anymore. He's a millionaire. He doesn't have to work in comics anymore. But he could just literally go across the country and be like, so Hickman, what's the event going to be? And they're like, oh, it's going to be this big thing at the end of it. It's not coming out for another year. He's like, so you're saying I have a year to draw your event? Because wouldn't that be a hell of a mic drop?
Yeah, that would be.
That's the only book that would rival his own X-Men book for the #1 selling comic of all time.
You know what? I
think
just realized though, Hardvogue brought this
Yeah.
up. That like people are like they just laid off a bunch of people. You also got to think we're in the middle of a pandemic that is
Yeah,
not
they had to
ending
let go
as
of a lot of
intended. A
people.
lot of companies are making big layoffs just to trim the fat while they figure out what's going on.
Absolutely. Or to tighten their bootstraps,
Yeah.
not even lose fat, just also being like, we can't afford this anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing rumblings. This is like the start of something that like we're gonna see layoffs everywhere.
Oh no, I mean that's already started. We're already seeing massive layoffs everywhere because the government's not stepping in. We're just causing more problems, and at this point, we're screwed. Like that's really
Yeah.
what it boils down to.
Yeah.
it-
I don't think that it's the death of DC Comics or anything. I think it's just more like it's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature of all these companies spending more than they earn to try and be the ultimate streaming service. Like DC wouldn't be touched if AT&T didn't want to create a streaming service. AT&T would never have bought Warner Brothers if they weren't interested in trying to become the #1 streaming service.
Yep.
And like if they could just be happy with their money and be happy with what they had, none of this would happen. Disney wouldn't be nearly as messed up right now if they didn't spend trillions trying to make Disney Plus.
and then
they're
no
making their
content.
money,
Well, you got to think though.
and then have no content.
Right, so that's the issue though right now. DC Universe's big staff got laid off, and so did the
Yep.
marketing guys, the collectibles. Yes, there were some editors,
Yeah.
there were some publishers, but we've known
Yeah.
for a little while that DC was having some internal problems with that. Everything,
Yeah.
but everything else that was laid off is jobs that haven't really been able to work since the pandemic. DC Universe wasn't making new shows; they were cutting episodes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, they were.
The collectible
Yeah.
market wasn't making new products because we can't get things from China. We can't get things from
Well-
Japan right now.
What's ironic is that like all these companies were in deep development of this streaming service, and then they were hit with an unprecedented and unanticipated pandemic, which literally cut into every single entertainment medium except video games.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing.
No, even video
like,
games are hit. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh, I know, but like, well, it's the one thing Disney doesn't care about or worry about or do anything. Like, they have no presence in video games. They just license it. Who cares? It's the one thing they don't put any stock in, and it's the one thing that could have helped them weather the storm. Now Disney's like actually had like some significant hits in their bottom line, and it's the one thing they didn't care about. Meanwhile, AT&T announces that they're not going to get rid of Warner Brothers Interactive. Why? Because like, oh, you mean they can all work from home and make these like $1 trillion video games, like, and people are home playing them, and they've been for like the last 6 months. Well, I guess we'll keep doing that.
People
like,
still buy
yeah.
and play the Arkham games. Like,
right? Like video games.
I'm literally playing
As it turn-
Destiny as we speak.
Yeah, video games are the one industry where you can like succeed in a pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that none of these CBS, like, in their money pit of an app, like, you just spent so much money to develop this Star Trek stuff, and no one can make more Star Trek, and no one's watching it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're spending too much, and your greed and your desire to overspend and to get into like this kind of like financial streaming service arms race with all these other companies is only making everything worse. It's only hurting us because it is hurting Marvel, DC, comic book stores, the comic book industry, the TV industry. Like everyone's like grasping. You know what I mean? Like there's no clear things are getting greenlit just because we gotta make content.
Oh yeah,
It's a nightmare.
I mean, look at half the shows on Netflix.
Also, right. Oh, and just even worse is that like I forgot about us, like the consumers. Like, you mean to tell me that the things like the only reason why Netflix succeeded is because it was the only one. And the only way that Disney Plus or CBS All Access or HBO Max or whatever is going to succeed is if they're the last one left. Because I'm not going to spend $10, $20, $15 a month every month for 5, 6, 7, 8 streaming services plus a cable connection so that I can use the internet to watch these damn things. I'm not going to do it. And it's unsustainable. You can spend trillions because it's metaphorical money anyway, but I literally have a bank account. And when it gets into the negatives, my life is over. I can't afford to spend that kind of money. Like, and so it's eventually going to be a question of like, what can I sacrifice? And we wouldn't be in that position if they weren't so greedy. Anyway.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. It's a weird situation we're in. It's so easy for us to ignore it as you and I and even a lot of the people in our chat because it's so easy to order DoorDash, sit at your house, watch the show, play your latest video game, and forget that the world is still suffering huge economic losses and that things like 800 people being laid off are... You're right. It's probably just the beginning. I get a feeling we're going to see a lot more places that are going to get laid off, a lot more layoffs that are going to be happening. Because companies have held on as long as they can. But things like DC Universe, HBO Max, all this stuff, they only work if we go back to normal. Doom Patrol being cut by an episode. Stargirl being cut by multiple episodes. All these shows being cut by episodes. Like, do we even know if CW is going to start its normal season in 2 months?
I have no idea. I doubt it.
Dan brought that up. He's like, "Oh yeah, so the channel should be starting to do well again because we have Wonder Woman coming out. We have all these different projects coming out in fandom." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah." And the shows come back. I'm like, "Are they?
Are they? Did they even shoot a show? Yeah. Like, and Wonder Woman's coming out when? Like, can it? And will it do well? Will it help us?"
The shows are starting in January, confirmed. So they're not even starting anywhere near. We're gonna get a half season. That's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're not seeing the end of this tunnel until 2022.
Because everyone's like, "Oh, 2021 it'll go back to normal." It might completely go back to normal.
We might get a vaccine by then.
But even if it goes back to normal, we're going to take time to recover. Those 800 people that just got laid off, they're not being rehired. Even I've had to go through and lay off some of my staff. Yeah. And I hate to say it, this is really really bad way to say it, but it was because I had redundancies. But they don't matter as much when we're making money. When we're making money, it's like
or their convenience.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that I had to lay off were people who made my life easier and our jobs easier. Now Dan had to come in today and things like that. Like we had to do extra work, things we didn't have to do before. But it was all redundancy.
Yeah. We're in a weird place.
Gary's the one that you guys know. We had a staff of 11 people. Now there's 7 of us. So just Gary. No, just Gary was on camera, so they knew him.
Yeah, you saw him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's rough, man. Like, it's rough all over. The 800 people, like, well, and not just the 800, the people on the comic book side, it's not like the comic book industry is thriving, and so all these really talented, really smart, really, like, dedicated comic book people are just going to get absorbed by Dark Horse or Marvel or Valiant. Like, they're not.
Yeah.
Like, not all of them are. And if we see sweeping changes, if we see sweeping layoffs, like, it's only going to get worse. And that doesn't mean good comics for you. Now, it may be more financially reasonable. Like, we might see a world where, like, DC, Marvel only produce, like, 10, 12 books a month, and the rest of them are all original graphic novels or collected volumes or digital exclusive series. But that also hurts everybody else, too. Like, that hurts artists and writers who produced more books, comic book retailers who were reliant on the monthly model. Like, it's all connected and it all influences itself. So it's like we're seeing the effects, and like right now, because we're a comic book like show, we're talking about the lens of DC had all these layoffs. It affects DC and the bottom line and the licenses and the collectibles and all that stuff. But like, it's part of the larger question and problem that we're all in, which is like, yeah, that's a consequence of it.
Yeah.
That's where we are. But like, pull back and see how it's like where that affects everything else. Look at your restaurants and your, it's yeah, we're only just starting to see the forest for the trees. Like we're only just starting to see the bigger picture here and the impact that not just because for me it's not just the COVID thing. For if it was COVID, if it was just COVID, you'd be like, okay, that sucks, and we'd weather the storm. But like it's COVID plus the economy plus like the when it comes to these conglomerates that we're talking about, like them spending trillions of dollars,
Yeah.
and it's like it's unsustainable even with your four pillars, Disney, of like your parks and your movies and your sports. But like, hey, when you have the pandemic, plus you're spending trillions, plus no one can go to your parks, like plus no one can make movies or new shows, plus you're spending just trillions of dollars, like you're gonna be in the red. We're all gonna be in the red, and it's like, like. Ugh, we're only starting to see it.
Yeah.
We're only gonna we're seeing like the preliminary shockwave of what's happening.
I mean, like I said, the sad part is everyone's just like, oh, let's go back to normal. I just gotta wear a mask and go out to eat. I just have to wear a mask to go outside. It's not a big deal. And I don't want to wear a mask.
Right.
Screw you. Like,
right.
the economy is done, son.
Yeah. Well, you can't. Well, yeah. Put on your mask and go to your favorite restaurant. Oh, it closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then now what are you gonna do? Like, I guess you go to your second favorite restaurant. Oh, that's in trouble too. Like, and it's not just restaurants, but it's like it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's your job. Hey, what if you're in a position where it's like you work in an office surrounded by people? Let's say a dozen people. Let's say 24 people on your same floor. And your boss says, hey, COVID's over. You got to come in. You can wear your mask all you want, but like they're not. And what if like your boss is a jackass who made you come in? And he's like, hey, listen, the mask thing, I'm getting complaints. What are you going to say? Are you going to say like, well, I value my health more than my job. I'll just quit. Or, hey, can I negotiate working from home? Like, not everyone can do that. Not everybody's going to be able to benefit from that. And it's like, and I think we were saying that in the beginning of the pandemic. I was like, at some point or another, bosses are going to say, I need to feel important and special. I need employees to be in the office to justify our rent.
I mean,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I mean, that's all we've been doing this entire episode, Sal.
Well, that's true. Well, that's how we talk. No offense intended.
For the record, you know what I've noticed? Nothing against the old style of the weekly poll, but you and me interrupting each other, a hell of a lot normal and easier than 5 of us trying to do it.
That's very true. Well, it's much more manageable.
Yeah.
I know who needs to talk next.
Whose turn
As
is it?
do you.
Is it Benny? No, he's playing his game. I'm gonna keep going.
Right, exactly. Like, well, and that's legitimately it. It's like, well, if I talk too long, I know Benny's going to get a shot. It's not like, well, if I don't let Benny talk now, he won't be able to talk because so-and-so has to talk or so-and-so or another so-and-so has to talk.
Yeah.
Like, we're good.
Yeah, I kind of like our 2-minute show.
Yeah, we'll just add 8 minutes to the show. Like, okay.
I mean,
So
we're
talking
20
about the
minutes
economy.
over right now, and I'm still out there to talk anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think that's where we're at right now. Like, everyone's freaking out. I don't think it's the end of DC. I think it's terrible for the people at DC. I do think it was a good chunk of redundancies, but it's not all. This is also, people also seem to forget that AT&T did come in and just kind of, they're cleaning house. I mean,
yeah,
DC's been in a weird spot for the last couple of years, and I know some people hate death metal and Dark Knight's metal and everything Scott Snyder's done, but Scott Snyder's been kind of holding down the fort over there for a little while on the event front. Like,
yeah, and that's probably why he's like, I'm done after this. Like, not done with DC or done with comics, but he's like, I don't want to have to hold up the whole bottom line. I mean, I don't think he anticipated this at all. Like, death metal is the thing people are ordering through, like, these new retailers or through these new distributors. Like, it's the thing to get excited about.
It's that and DC.
It's the thing.
Tom Taylor and Scott Snyder are pretty much holding up DC right
holding
now.
down the line.
Yeah, while everyone figures out what's going on.
Yeah. By the way, you're also sleeping on Justice League Dark. You should be buying that too.
No, I'm not.
Not you.
I was like, I'm not. I'm reading that.
No, I'm talking to them. Justice League Dark is a good book, and it should be pre-ordered.
I've been even covering it on the channel. I'm a couple weeks behind the next
I know.
episode, but we have been covering it. And you know what I love about Justice League Dark? The title, Justice League Dark. People don't even know what I'm putting out, but they just see dark and they're like, "What happened?" Ooh,
looks dark. I dig it. I'm like, good. All right, keep buying it then.
Odyssey's still going too, isn't it? Odyssey? Yeah,
I don't know.
Because she became like an Omega.
Oh, I dropped that book.
She became like an Omega Lantern.
Cool. Are you talking about Far Sector? Or are you talking about that Justice League?
No,
book?
the Justice League Odyssey book. Jessica Cruz is
Oh.
an Omega Lantern or whatever the next
Oh.
pinnacle of that is. The Far
Cool.
Sector
Nah,
book
I'm
was a
not
cool
reading that.
concept, but it got stalled by the COVID thing. So
Yeah, big time. I'm not reading.
you
that,
know what I
sorry.
finally did do? You know, before we close out today's episode, I finally sat down
Yeah.
and read Grant Morrison's Green Lantern 1 through 12, and then the Dark whatever they're called,
The Black Stars.
Black Stars,
Yes.
1 through 12, and then I got to season 2, and no, I was right. I don't like it.
Yeah. I bought the first 2 volumes on hardcover because I was like, we're going to cover it on back issues. I read the first 12 pages. I'm like, okay, no. I have Green Lantern. I have Black Stars. I'm like, I could do this on back issues. I could totally. Oh, Jesus.
Grant Morrison, who took your reins off? What the hell is going on here?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, and I've heard it explained at the end, and I'm like, okay, I could stomach that. I just got to sit down and read it.
I mean, I think in general it's a cool idea what Grant Morrison's done. I do think the art is really good. Liam Sharp's art is really good.
Yes,
I think it's a cool. I think the problem I have with it is whoever gave Grant Morrison Green Lantern literally said do whatever you want. There's just so
Absolutely.
many things in it that I'm just like, why? Like why?
Yeah.
Why is there a whole issue told in like a poem? Like what? Whose idea was this stuff? What editor was like, yeah, no. Comic fans like poems.
Right? Well, that's the thing is that I think that I remember hearing a long time ago that Grant Morrison says I don't have an editor. Like at DC, he's like, oh no, if you want me to write something, I don't get an editor.
Right. I don't know.
Like, okay, I don't care.
It's fun.
I think that's 100. I think based on what you've got, it's 100% true.
I think this is the first time that he's really not had an editor. Like maybe DC was just kind of like, you know what? You want to do Green Lantern? That's fine. You don't want an editor? That's fine. That's one less thing we have to worry about. You just give us books
That's
to print.
true. Yeah, you know what? That book will sell the same numbers it always does, thanks to you. Go for it. Yep. No, I read that first issue. I was like, oh, geez, I know where this is going. and then I read the first volume, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't, but oh my god.
No, Tevi, he fought God like in issue 3. We're way past fighting God.
And it wasn't even God.
He's an alien that thought it was God or wanted to be God or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's Absolute Comics. We'll be back next week because I think Fandom's next week, right?
It's 22nd, I think.
22nd?
Yeah.
So it is next week, but the
So
end of
next week.
So we'll probably do a speculation show next week, and then we'll do
Yes.
actual Fandom when it comes out.
Yeah. By the way, did you know that the people who organized Fandom are all fired?
Wait, what?
Everyone who worked on Fandom is fired.
Oh yeah, because they were all part of DC Universe, weren't they?
Uh-huh.
So wait, is it still happening?
Yeah, it's still happening.
How?
They probably got all their work done, and they were like, okay, good job, get out. So you're saying all I have to do is push this button? Yeah, that's right. Okay, you're fired.
Before we close out, I'm just gonna reread these real fast to make sure no new news came out.
There's a apparently DC's having a town hall meeting right now.
Are they?
Evidently. But with their own staff.
Right. Probably to be like,
Yeah,
okay,
there's a Zoom meeting.
all right, well,
So tomorrow we'll hear all the leaks.
yep, because someone who probably got fired is in that call right now.
Yep. And it's like, okay, I will tell you everything.
Yeah. Hey, Bleeding Cool. I got the note. I got the
Yeah.
recording.
Hey, Rich, here's your email. Here's your bullet points.
All right.
Or I'll just bring you in on the call.
All right. Well, anyway, if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to check us out here every Tuesday and Thursday for more comic book related podcasts. I'm going to convince Sal to do more shows with me. Sal, we're doing more shows. You're going to get paid more.
Okay.
You have to.
Okay.
It's Sal Pernatural every Wednesday.
Nope. This is easy. I could sit down and talk with you for however long we need to talk.
I mean, we talk for like an hour
you gotta-
before the shows. It's sometimes an hour after the shows, guys.
Yeah, but I don't. But I'm not going to sit down and watch a show. You know what I mean? Like, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
Like
No, I agree. We'll figure something out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe to here on the Twitch channel if you want to support these shows. You want to keep Sal employed. You want to keep me employed talking about your comic book stuff. Don't forget to follow the channel if you want to get it. We do podcasting here every Tuesday, Thursday. All are comic book
Yes.
themed. On Tuesdays, it's me and Sal sitting down talking about the news. On Thursdays, we have a little bit more fun with the comic book world, mess with things, and we do a Dungeons & Dragons game. And now our review show is being moved from Monday to Thursday, so you'll see it there as well. Don't forget, you can find both of these on our Patreons, although I'm now shifting my focus to YouTube memberships. We're restructuring everything. But yes, you can find it over on the Patreon, the YouTube memberships, the episodes of Absolute Comics if you want to further support us. And you'll find us here next week. If you want to go check us out directly, check out his Patreon, patreon.com/Comic Pop, and check out his channel, Comic Pop. He does a lot of live streaming. You've been blowing up my phone with your live streaming.
I'm sorry. We do 2 a week. Come on.
I don't know if you know this, but I show up for all of them. I just don't talk.
I appreciate that. That's interesting.
Well, no, the reason I don't talk is that when I talk, everyone's like, Comic Story is here! Comic Story is here! Oh my God, Sal!
Yeah.
Comic Story is here!
Well, and then I'll know you're lurking in the chat.
Well, exactly, because if you're
fair.
going to talk shit about me, I need to know.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I liked your camera
Yeah,
angle
we all
decision
watch
on
each other's-
yesterday's episode with Tiffany.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried something a little
See, I
different.
told you I watched
and I
it.
figured it out. It was low res. I was like, oh no. I figured out the problem. It's OBS.
I needed an alt account. Yeah, I do for some stuff. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to check him out over at Comic Pop. You can find me at Comic Storian, and we'll see you next time right here.